Hey guys, welcome to our review of Loki Season 2, Episode 6, the finale, Glorious Purpose. Alex is still out. I think he'll be back on Monday. So we get the Episode 6 and our rating for Season 2 in general. And I gotta say, this is really, really awesome. The story is completed. I went and immediately looked up, is there going to be a season 3? Because I love these actors.
I'm okay.
I love this thing.
I do,
And
but no.
and it's no. So the director and stuff, we approach this like two halves of a book. Season 1 is the first half. Season 2, we close the book on Loki and the TVA. Where it goes beyond that, I don't know. I just wanted to, Martin says, I want to tell a full and complete story across these 2 seasons. And that's exactly what we get.
Yeah.
As some theorized, and as Marvel themselves spoiled in a comic book form, which sent all the theory channels into, set those channels on fire with theories. Loki does end up, taking back his own show, and this being really about ultimately Loki coming into power, being a winner, getting his own throne, exerting control, but also bittersweet in a way, and just a really satisfying story. And I hope this isn't the end that we see of these characters. I don't think it is the end of seeing these characters. I think maybe as we go into the future of the MCU, if we can ever get interested again, because we just watched the Marvels, and that kind of punched us out of it, and then immediately watching Loki and being like, well, I like this stuff. It's weird to get jumbled back and forth like this. But I will say, ultimately, I love this story. And honestly, I think the Loki series is amongst the best on Disney Plus.
Agreed.
If you want to just a really good story, you want to get somebody into it, you put Loki in front of them. You don't put, She-Hulk or Hawkeye or Secret Invasion. No, you put Loki, right? And I gave season 1 a 10 out of 10, and this season, I felt ups the ante, has really interesting concepts, very tightly written. It's all kind of in a loop, which fits with everything, all the themes that have been there. And so I'm going to have to think real hard on the final verdict. But let's jump into episode 6. What did you think of episode 6, Joe?
This was fucking fantastic. It was a breath of fresh air after watching the Marvels, like you said. This is
we might be grading on a curve after seeing
probably, because this is a saving grace for Marvel. Like this, the show Loki, and I guess the last thing they put out was probably Guardians of the Galaxy, because like Quantum wasn't it, Secret Invasion wasn't it. Like even Miss Marvel, the show, like fell flat on his face. But I love this show. It was hilarious. The comedy was still there. It's like, well, how much time do I need? It's like a century later. I was like, oh, you fucking did it.
SpongeBob, a few minutes later.
Yeah, and then like the score was amazing. The visuals, like top notch. I loved it when he was walking on the platform. The transition, whenever he turned into like the fucking badass Loki.
Yeah.
It just made me excited. I loved it all the way through. This is a great story.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic story. Taking control, and we've got a bunch of different subplots here. And while ultimately he has friends, he has to basically and he wants to protect all of them. And ultimately he does. And they get to continue those timelines and continue those lives. And Loki holds it all together, essentially, at the end. And, but there are some seeds planted. If you don't take this direct path, He Who Remains makes a feature here. It's good to get the He Who Remains back from season 1. He's enjoying himself watching Loki try to figure this all out. And he's like, look, I planned this. Do you think I was just going to die? And I was like, aha, I knew there was a plan, all along.
He was like, that's cute. You just learned to do that. You still don't know how to do this.
But I love the tension between these two, because it's like Loki is, I do already know. You know what I mean? And so
Yes.
he's kind of feigning him, and then there's this dangerousness from Kang, but then a dangerousness from Loki because it's like you don't know how many times he's done it, and at times I feel like Kang was like, oh shit, maybe I don't have the upper hand anymore. I don't know what's going on. So it's very
He's
good
very persistent.
season,
So
very good,
yeah.
outcome there. And but he basically has Loki boxed in. He believes that look, you either have to kill Sylvie, or you basically allow this multiversal war to happen, and and do that. So Loki finds another way. He's like, I'm gonna basically, change the equation, and in doing so, he became the man who would be king. He became the god of stories. So I guess he gets what he always wanted because
His
I was watching
throne
some
and
theory
stuff?
channels. Yeah, a throne, right? Where there's even his father's like all of this because Loki wants a throne. And well, Loki finally gets a throne. It's got some gold, Japanese repair artistry on it as he holds the time together. But great visuals.
Yes.
Victor Timely's exploding over and over. We thought that visual was impressive. Now we get it 15 times.
That scream is just
And
stuck in my head
love it.
now.
I just love Groundhog Day, right? And that film. And this is kind of like Groundhog Day, where he
Yeah.
gets to try over and over. He gets all the knowledge by repeating it multiple times. And just watching that play out is fantastic. I really have no real criticisms of this particular episode. I fucking loved it, Joe. I'm
It
gonna
was a
come right
great,
out,
yeah.
and I'm gonna say it's a 10 out of 10 ending. It's so rare to see Marvel stick these landings now, and they stick the landing here, and
Yeah.
it factors into season 1, it factors into season 2, and honestly, the only thing I would have liked a little bit more is a little bit went over my head. I had to kind of like rewatch certain parts and really understand what Loki is getting here. Maybe an epilogue could have helped remind me of all the times that Loki was desiring his own throne, and he's doing this to save his friends. Maybe just something a little bit extra, and then in a sense, he wins. He's always a loser. Lose this, lose that. Finally wins, but kind of loses. I mean, loses his own kind of free will, but this is kind of what he chooses. So, no, he doesn't lose. He wins.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I thought he did what he really wanted to do. He got a throne, and at the very end, you see him just like with a bright smile.
I didn't see that as a smile. I just saw that.
He's like he's like the most fucking powerful.
Right. I liked
I
it,
was
but
like,
I need a little more just from my dumb brain that just explain a little more that he's not imprisoned by it, but he kind of is. So I think it's both, and I think it can be both. That it is now his curse. I'm not really sure he can get up from his throne and walk off and interact with the world again. I'm wondering if this is a clever way to, if Tom Hiddleston wants to try other projects and do his own movies and not be a part of Marvel's universe anymore, this is a way to kind of get him out of it. Now, yeah, he can do cameos from time to time. Hey, I'm still in the time, or he appears and he disappears. Like, I don't know where you go from here, basically.
Yeah.
But I don't care because all that is the future. This is a well-told story of how he ends up in this position of power, has his own throne, becomes a king in his own right. And I just wanted Loki's character to be done justice. It seems like he's the foil for Thor. He's always the villain. He's this side thing. And I'm like, man, it would be so cool if they gave this guy an awesome ending. He gave him an awesome ending. This is fucking sweet. And you can think about it and really dive deep into it. And there's some depth
That's
there.
exactly what I was saying with the stupid movie again, Marvels. That one just like turn off your brain, doesn't matter. This one is like, holy shit, what's the meaning of this or that?
Right.
It's like, for me, like he took his throne, but at the same time he has to like endure everything that comes with that throne.
Right.
So that's his burden.
Right.
So
it's his burden.
Yeah.
But it's also
That's what he wanted.
glorious,
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Glorious Purpose.
Yeah.
The title of the fucking episode. 10 out of 10, Joe. What would you fucking rate it?
It was great. All the way through, I was super excited. It was hilarious. It just made me realize this is top tier writing right here.
This is what we want.
This is what we wanted from the shows. And
creativity. I don't know. I don't know. I say I'm putting up the Marvel review because my editing software, I had to re-render you were out of sync with the audio, so it'll be up soon. It'll be up now. You're watching this second, I think. I'm putting it up right now. But I called it uncreative. I don't even know if that's a word. It's just not very creative. And this has all that creativity and that, you know, the drama, the tension, the strength of writing, the characters that you care about.
You could have discussions with it.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's fantastic stuff. Like, you know, I care about Mobius. I care about Sylvia. I care about Loki. I even started to appreciate the side characters, you know, Obi and all these rest. That's why I said I need a little epilogue, because Obi doesn't really get anything epilogue. He gets to look at the TVA book, which I think is a second edition.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too.
Because it looks different. Maybe that's Loki's version of the TVA.
Yeah, and then Victor Timely doesn't get the book this time.
Right, so
he's
that
looking
Victor
in the
Timely
corner.
does not do a thing. And we get a montage of several character moments leading to potentially other stuff. Renslayer has the most puzzling one. This is one that kind of flew over my head. She does end up in the realm that we talked about before. We're like, if she doesn't end up in that realm, then the fucking breaking shit. She ends up in the realm. But she looks... the look on her face is interesting. And she's not necessarily scared of the monster. She's looking off to the pyramids. I don't know what the fuck is happening here. Also, they show something on the floor that this could be the TVA.
It was the same symbol that he walked over.
So at the end of the TV, I don't know what's happening here, but I think they're setting up something for Kang, right? Because Renslayer connects to Kang, and Kang is supposed to be one of the upcoming villains in these Avengers films. We got the Avengers Secret Wars, and we've got the Avengers Kang Dynasty. So it's going to connect into Kang Dynasty, I think. But yeah, just even the opening song that was cool with this montage. It's odd. It sounds familiar, but
it had some awesome like lines too. It's like, I know what God I have to be when he walks out there, and then like Mobius just like watching. He's like, no, it's gonna let time pass.
Yeah,
it's like, it's fucking good.
Yeah, and you know it's weird that Loki's not here, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Are you saying he's going to get stuck there? Can he not have the Avengers anymore? I want more Tom Hiddleston. I want more Loki. Oh, boy. Yeah, so just all in all, a great story. One that now that you've seen in pieces, I think would be even better if you're able to watch it all the way through, you know, in a setting. So I said 10 out of 10. What's your rating?
For this episode, 10, yeah.
Okay, hell yeah. Alex is not here,
You
so
tease
he's
it
not
10.
getting no rating. Oh, yeah, Alex always just, you know, he's always the most positive of us. So
or maybe a 9.
No, we don't know. We can't predict what he's going to say. I'm sure
he'll
it's
like
positive.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into a little bit of the episode breakdown of what actually happens here. We'll discuss that, and then we'll go to a final rating for Season 2. So in Glorious Purpose here, we begin with an extra-length episode that also helped. I like that this is like 56 minutes without credits. So they added another 15, 20 minutes on here, which is always good. It proves to me that these things should be an hour long. You know what I mean? That's a sweet spot. You know, without ads, it gave it enough time. I didn't feel like we were rushing through it, even though Loki's rushing everybody because he's trying to get the thing to work as Obi intended. But yeah, it was a cool opening song. It kind of picks up where episode 4 leaves off, sort of. Yeah, you could see episode 5 to get more context, to understand where Loki makes that pivot and takes control. But it starts with that kind of before the explosion, and he realizes he needs to go faster. I thought this was a throwaway line in the last. We need to hurry up. We need to go faster. It was like, no, let's. Now we go back into that moment in time, and Loki's like, all right, let's go. Pushing Victor out the door. Victor's exploding over and over, and because now he can control his time slip, he can basically do it. And so then he can learn centuries. He's done this centuries.
I thought they were gonna do like a little joke. It's like, hey, we don't have time for pie because they were like talking about the pie earlier.
Yeah,
we got time for pie.
We ain't got time for pie. That's fine. It's good stuff. And he eventually tries within that little time restriction.
Yeah,
Then he's like, all right, this is not working. I gotta go further back. So he goes into the war room. He's like, hey, Miss Minutes, and Miss Minutes is like, whoa, what's happening here? I love the characters, and he's also trying to treat the characters with respect and not try to tip them off while at the same time rushing them and say, it's like
this time
he's coming for your job. I'm coming for your job. Yes. I'm going. Here I come. I'm coming for the job. I just love it.
Yeah. He's like tired of hearing that joke. It's been centuries since he said it.
Great acting from Tom Hiddleston. Yeah. You can see it. And so finally he does have Victor Timely make it across that. And it's cool seeing it not exploding and, the struggle that he takes to get there. And you're in it. It's ridiculous that something so simple and that we've already seen happen, we're
and
invested.
You know it happens because he's like, do not put it down. And he puts it down. He's like, what did I say? He's like, all right, so he fucked up before.
I wish they would have shown it rolled off. He was like, and then it just cuts to, pick it back up. Yeah, so that would have been a funny thing. But so Victor prints it, actually does it, hits the green button, gets stuck sometimes, hits it again, and boom, it fires off. Now it works. And that moment when Loki, the relief, he is so fucking happy. Like, this is good acting, dude. This is just, I love this fucking show. And there are too many branches still, and unfortunately, it doesn't work. It goes wrong. Beep, 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 beep. What? But we did everything, and Loki, now that he's a fucking astrophysicist, it's like, no, this doesn't make sense.
Contain it.
It turns out that it's infinitely increasing. Timelines, they explain you can't really factor for this. You can't divide by 0, so how are you trying to contain infinite timelines? And so basically, Loki's like, no. I'm not allowing this to happen. I just spent centuries of my life trying to figure this out. So then he goes back to when Sylvie attempts to kill Kang in the Citadel. And again, he tries over and over, has this fight with her, not trying to kill Sylvie. He's trying to save his friends. He's trying to save the timelines that his friends are also, in, so that they can have their lives and be happy in those timelines, but simultaneously also be in the TVA and have that. So it's fun. And Kang is just enjoying the whole thing. I love it.
See you soon.
See you soon. Like, see you soon. Get it already? You're doing this? I wasn't going to die. And I love that he pauses everything and they have this moment to talk. We've already talked about that in the review. Great scene. You think I was just going to let her kill me, and then they're talking. It's very dangerous. And basically, he goes, the outcome remains the same. You lose. You do not tell Loki that he's a loser, because he's going to find. He goes, all right, I'll change the equation.
That's a dangerous man, and there's no quitting him.
He's a god, too. He says, I'm going to break the loom. Wait, what? But that's what prevents the brutal war, is what he's trying to explain to him. So, Joe, do you think that the events in this series is what causes the Kang Dynasty? So because Loki did what he did here, he is responsible for the Avengers having to assemble and fight Kang in this. It has to be.
Yes.
Because he said, no, I don't care. I'm going to try to find a different way.
Because Kang was the one who was trying to prevent that shit from happening. He's like, no, I'm going to find a way.
But at the same time, maintaining his power.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, kill her, and we protect what we can, and he's like, no. So he needs some resolve. And he goes and talks to Sylvie. He talks to his friends, basically, and asks them, and, king of what exactly? It's a moment in time. And I love that we see, the flashback. He talks to Sylvie. He talks to Mobius, and you know, we learn what makes Loki tick. You know that moment when he's trying to interview
Yeah.
him, Mobius is trying to interview him, and he talks to him there. And
Another great
even
scene.
Mobius, another fantastic scene. And I think Mobius realizes this is something different, and so he tells him a story about these two, time pruners, two soldiers that went out and had to prune like an 8-year-old boy because it was going to result in some deaths, and the person couldn't do it, and so the other one had to do it for him. And you have to have the bigger picture in mind. It turns out that Mobius was the one that couldn't prune the boy, and Renslayer is the one that did. So more character. I like that they tied that in. It's not just stories about them, and the way that Loki already picked up on it. He's like, "So what did you do?" Next without saying it. Perfect.
Yeah.
And essentially he says there's no comfort there. Technically, you just have to choose your burden. And Loki goes, "That's what he needed. I'm gonna choose my burden. I also gave my throne.
Yeah.
I also protect you guys." And realizes that the loom essentially is only designed to save the sacred timeline. And if he wants to save other timelines, or he wants to keep everything, the way he would like it, he's going to have to do it himself. So, he's going to replace the thing with something better. He takes one last look at his friends. And then he goes outside instead of Victor, and I'm like, but he's a god, so he can handle a little bit
God
of the.
Yeah. I have to be.
Mm-hmm.
He walks out.
Clothes gets ripped off,
Fucking
and it
amazing.
gives birth to a new costume, cape,
yes.
horns, and it's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Destroys the loom. I didn't expect that. Just destroys the whole fucking loom. Which makes the branches appear to die, but then he grabs them and he lights them up. How he's doing that part, I don't fucking know, but whatever.
Yeah.
He gains the power of the story of God of Stories. And she's basically, Sylvie notices this, and he says he's giving us a chance.
So when he's lighting them up green, he's pruning those, right? Or
I don't know. I think he's just keeping them together. He is the loom. So then they light back up. Now it's light green because it's Loki, but they just previously they were what? Orange or whatever.
Yeah,
and it just shows you that they have life. Mm-hmm. And then he sits in the throne, or he goes up the steps, and this is the kind of the comic book, thing that was spoiled previously, and he holds it all together.
When the gold comes up.
Hold it all together, pans out, and even in the shape of a tree, Asgard, the world tree, so it kind of ties in a little bit to that. And then back to the TVA. Everybody's working under this new TVA, under Loki's TVA, essentially, and we get the second edition of the handbook. Mobius requested his file. I guess he kind of wants to see what he's working for and saving. Because if I'm not mistaken, they're still pruning timelines, aren't they?
That's what I
think
thought.
There was a line dropped in there, actually.
That's what I thought Loki was doing.
Interesting.
To, kind of keep it in control, but he's in control.
Yeah. So
I thought he was.
Stuff
I don't know.
That I don't quite understand. I guess if I were to try to wrap my hand around it, I'm gonna have to watch theory channels and shit and rewatch it. But he wants to save other timelines in addition to the sacred timeline. But even in that instance, if it is infinitely expanding, you have to prune some.
Yeah.
Okay.
He should get rid of the Fantastic Four timeline. That was a bad one.
The Fox Fantastic.
Both of them. The new or the most recent one and the one before. Get rid of those timelines, please.
Yeah, I agree.
And Howard the...
No.
Howard the
just
Duck?
leave him. He's fine. It's weird.
The old one?
Weird. It's not very good.
It's not.
All right. So anyways, I guess the TVA is still working. And Mobius, initially I thought this was Mobius leaving the TVA, but I guess my understanding wasn't correct. He's just taking a vacation, a break to look at him in his life on one of the timelines where he's enjoying life with his kid. He was offered to become a judge, and he's like, well,
There's
I'm
always
gonna
a
go
seat here for you
for you.
when you return.
And he's like, I just need to take some time.
Yeah.
So I guess he is going to return to the TVA because it's not like he's taking over that family. It's not like he is the dad there, and the kids are going to be like, yay, Dad. No, Mobius is already there. So he's just watching. So I guess he's going to watch for a while. That's kind of creepy. But he needs to just...
You're watching your life.
He, essentially, it's his character arc because he was ignoring all that stuff, and he was just doing it kind of for him, and to not have to think about stuff just moving forward. But now he can do what he does while still knowing what it is, and doing it for a greater purpose as well. So I guess he'll go back to work later. So montage of various characters. That's when we get the second edition of TVA book and OB. I wish we did get a little bit more with OB. I would have liked because we like that character. Victor Timely. Not a thing anymore. He's not getting a book, so we don't have to worry about that particular version. And then we get Renslayer waking up after being pruned. And this is the one that I don't really understand. There's a version of the TVA that got destroyed, and it's in this dimension where people go, they get pruned, and then that monster is off screen. I only recognize it because there's purple and the purple there. But she doesn't look exactly like she's terrified in fear. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's got a plan. She could just die, or the thing can eat her. I think it was called Alioth. Alioth goes to her or something.
So you're going to meet up with Kane?
Yeah, she's either going to, ally. There's those pyramids in the background. You had that weird pharaoh-looking guy in one of them. I don't know if that ties in or what, but I don't understand this one. So that's probably where we'll get some more Kangy-wangy stuff. And Renslayer stuff in a future film. But, yeah. I thought maybe Loki's taking a break, and he actually retires from the TVA and goes to his own timeline. And I thought they were going to give him an actual jet ski. That is the happy ending that we all wanted. No. So we got to maintain the fake jet ski scene with the wind blowing in his hair. And I was like, darn it. So he just gets to watch Mobius play with his kids, a version of himself playing with his kids.
Yeah.
Whatever. So yeah, and then Sylvie shows up and she says it's weird that Loki's not here, isn't it? But yeah, he's like, you want to come back? And he's like, I'm going to stay here for a little while. And then we are seeing a scene of Loki holding the timelines together, green timeline. So it's a bittersweet ending.
Yeah.
But I guess he does get what he wants. His friends get what they want. He wins. Kind of loses at the same time. Personally loses? No, because he gets his throne. And he gets glorious purpose.
It's most powerful God.
Yeah. And so we don't know what happens next. But I'm hoping in the future he can rise to an even more powerful level where he can take a temporary break, pop out of his throne and do what he needs to do so he can participate in the Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars. I would basically just hate it if this was a way to get rid of Loki and sideline him and his actor Tom Hiddleston, because these are the greater parts of the MCU. You're taking your best asset and you're shelving it. And if this was a way to just get him out of the way so that we could do with all the other characters fighting
the younger
Kang,
Avengers,
I wouldn't want that. Right, the young Avengers. You'll have to watch at the end of our Marvels review for what that's happening. Anyways, one of the better stories they've told, tightly written, clever, the purposeful CGI. They never went wacky with the CGI. It all served purpose. The camera work is great. Yeah. The acting is great. What'd you say?
Did we get a Sylvie ending? Because I know that the conversation.
Yeah, not really. Not really.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Even though I give it a 10 out of 10, there's I think maybe tack on another 5 minutes. We can get a little more Obi, a little more Sylvie, and a little bit more purpose for he finally gets the throne that he's desired from all the time. Maybe some flashbacks to the times. Maybe that would have been too on the nose or whatnot. But Perhaps if we rewatch it, we can see all that. But essentially, Sylvie's ending is she gets what he wants. She wants to. She gets to live out her life. Remember, she's been a prisoner of this and that, an
Always on the
apocalyptic
run.
child. But because Loki's holding it all together, she gets to live out her life.
Now go back to McDonald's.
And she can go back to McDonald's if she wants. Yeah. So that's fucking it. We cannot speak for the rest of the MCU Phase 5. We can't speak for how, the rest of that goes. We can speak to the quality of the Marvels. Go watch our Marvels movie review right now. It's bad. But we can speak about what we thought about this show. And this show, excellent. So, it's time now for the series, Season 2 verdict. Joe, what is your Season 2 verdict? Overall,
I think it's still great, but it's not a 10. I'm between I'm probably gonna go with a solid 8.
Mm-hmm.
It had a great ending, great beginning, but again, in the middle, we were just kind of spinning our wheels. Like not a lot of stuff was like kind of going on.
Yeah, that episode.
Some of the characters,
that you and Alex, I understand.
Yeah, some of the characters you don't really care about.
Grouchy on one of those.
But it was multiple ones too. Like I didn't give those very high ones. I think it was around like a 6
out of 10 for me on
around
episode
there.
3.
So it's probably like 5 and then 6. I'll probably go with an 8. But this is one of the highlights of Marvel, this show and Guardians were the last good ones that we had.
Yeah,
I guess the holiday special as well. But other than that, no, they're just. Yeah, trying to see what sticks, and it's not very good.
Yeah, so going back, I gave episode 1 a 10 out of 10, episode 2 an 8 out of 10. 3 is where it dipped. I gave it a 6. But then immediately 4 went right back up. Y'all stayed in the grouchy mode. I went back to a 9, and then the ending a 10. Or no, I'm sorry, there's episode 5. Episode 5 was an 8. So it was,
Yeah, because this episode 2 is like this whole episode, like everything had a purpose. Like there was tension. Every scene was great, and before that, some of it was just like lollygagging, and it's like, hey, where's the tension? The loom's about to die. You guys are like, well, let's just go have some pie and just hang out.
I initially was going to give it a 9 and then I went back and looked at my season 1 review and I was like, oh fuck, I gave that one a 10, and it's like And then I realized I enjoyed season 2 at moments more than season 1 at moments. And at moments I enjoyed season 1 more. And I understand that it did kind of spin its wheels in episode 3 only for me, but it went up from there. So I think I'm going to, again, grade on a curve. Grade on now that I see where it all fits together. Yeah, I may give individual episodes lower ratings.
Yeah.
But when we put it into that puzzle and everything comes into view, I think the strength of that story brings it up to a 10 out of 10. I liked it as much as season 1 in different ways. I liked it more than season 1 in different ways, and I like season 1 better in different ways. So I'm going to look at it like he looks at it. It's a book.
Yeah.
You got first half and second half of the book. They're both very strong. I would recommend this to anybody.
Yes, agreed on that one too.
It doesn't matter if you like superhero stories. It doesn't matter if you like sci-fi stories. Great visuals, great acting, storytelling, good characters. I think anybody could enjoy this. And so that's why I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for me. So that basically, the way I look at it, season 1, season 2, it's just Loki TV series, 10 out of 10. That's how I'm doing it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it right now, just watch all. Binge watch it. It's going to be great.
It's fucking good. And cherish it because we don't know if Disney and Marvel are going to get things back on track. I assume that Deadpool 3 is going to be good. And it's mainly because of the excitement of the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. And so far, the Deadpools have been good. So I feel like that's where we're going back up, but the rest of the stuff that's coming up, I don't have, much faith.
Do you have the list? I'm kind of scared to see.
Yeah, I had it, but I lost it. So let me pull it up.
What phase are we?
5 and 6. or something. So here's some of the stuff. Captain America, 2025 now. Fantastic Four, Joe. You know how much you love that. But this is Marvel's turn at it. Thunderbolts and Blade. Okay.
Well, Blade, I heard.
Yeah.
You were telling me about Blade.
It's getting better. It was a disaster.
He
and
wasn't
they
even
threw
like
everybody
the main,
out.
Yeah.
And now they're redoing it, and Blade will be rated R. So there's good things. Here's the thing. They have a chance to turn shit around after the reception of Quantumania and now the Marvels, okay? There's bad news for Captain America Brave New World. They're having to reshoot like 3 major sequences because of test audiences are like, this is crap. So Captain America might also be shaky too. Brave New World. Fantastic Four, we've got no fucking idea. Thunderbolts, I'm not interested.
No.
Blade is, I think, where you can dig your heel, and we're like, oh, that's a good side story. And then we have Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So, yeah. And then there's the television stuff: Agatha, Daredevil, Ironheart, Echo.
Exactly. Just get it away. Get it away.
Daredevil.
Hopefully. I don't know.
Hopefully. I was hearing that was having a lot of problems
Me
behind the scenes too.
Me
So
too.
Marvel is in a crisis state, and we can see. But
the
that's
rumors,
why
maybe, I don't know.
That's why we thought, hey, you done did good with Loki.
Good.
We want to give credit where credit is due. This was did good.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for us. Thank you all so much, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.